Sometimes I like to go to pravdareport.com. You can see it up here, there, the address bar. You'll also know it as pravda.ru, and that matters too. So I go here and I'm looking at this. Yeah, boycott Brazil, whatever, fires, yeah. And then I see this eyeball symbol down there in the middle. You see it? And below it says top secret memo revealed. Many Russian meddlers active in America. And, so that caught my eye. I mean, to tell you the truth, it sounded interesting. It really grabbed my attention. I'm like, really? Oh, a secret memo that's been leaked about Russia and their meddlers in America? Say it isn't so. So, look, this is the new Pravda. The old Pravda, like this one. This image is provided online by wikimedia.org. And here's a cover of Pravda from 1941. Yeah, it's been around. That ain't no slouch, I can tell you that. So anyway, I went to this Wikipedia. I looked up Pravda. And it says here, it's formerly the official newspaper of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. There you go. The newspaper began publication on May 5th, 1912. So that's how old it is, and but I guess in what does it say here? 1991, Pravda was sold off by Russian President Boris Yeltsin to a Greek business family. Why would a Greek business family want to buy Pravda? In 1996, the Communist Party of the Russian Federation acquired the Pravda paper, while some of the original Pravda journalists separated to form Russia's first online paper and the first online English paper, Pravda.ru, which is not connected to the Communist Party. And the writer is Guy Somerset. Yeah. Well, the truth is, I've seen that name before here at pravdareport.com. He's what they call a contributor. He writes, but he's a contributor. So there he is. And, at the very end of this, and as he does on other websites that he contributes to, and I'm saying he because I don't know, it says Guy Somerset writes from somewhere in America. And I've seen that on other websites by this contributor. And so I plugged the name in to a search engine. Guy Somerset writer. Enter. And what I get is like nothing. I get a listing in New Zealand, but I'm not going to go by that if it says he's in America, because for some stupid reason, I'm expecting the website to tell me the truth. Now, really, think about that, right? But it's true. That's how I'm thinking. All right, so he's in America, but I couldn't find anything about the guy. Everything was a bad lead, false lead, everything I followed. And I've seen a lot more for people's names, but that name, not so much. So there you go. I don't know. I have my doubts that's a real identity. Writes from somewhere in America. Oh, for real? So what we got here now is a Russian news source featuring something written by a writer who is somewhere in America, and he's asserting that there's a top secret memo that, it says right here under note, just to the right of the eyeball, it says, note, the following top secret memo was recently intercepted from the Kremlin in Moscow. It is shocking in the amount of detail regarding Russian meddling in America. So in a nutshell, so far we have this writer from somewhere in America named Guy Somerset, who I can't find any reference to doing a search through a typical search engine. And he's contributing this article to the Russian news source PravdaReport.com. And so he's making the assertion that a top secret memo is intercepted. And so here he goes. This is the introduction to his article, and he refers to the readers as comrades. And it's kind of a parody, and if you read along, he's kind of poking at the Democrat Party, and he's poking at just the nature of things in the United States. So I would say making a mockery of it, which is fair, because the things that go on here, I'm not surprised, not one bit. And so he writes, given recent setbacks and revelations of our meddling in American affairs, this internal document is intended to evaluate the success of our nefarious activities conducted within the United States. So he's writing this from the perspective of a Russian, I guess, from the United States. And he's reporting this to Moscow. It goes on. Specific instances prompting the current review are unmasking of Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell as Moscow Mitch, as well as identification of our involvement in the death of a pedophile named Jeffrey Epstein. See? Yeah, you can tell somebody's writing from America, especially with that story involved. And then he concludes in the intro here, to assess efficacy of Russian meddlement is a chronological appraisal of our most meddlesome actions. He doesn't get in too much about Jeffrey Epstein, but he does say something real brief at the end that I'll show you later. Putting aside whether or not this is a real secret memo or not, and I think we all know it's not, he starts off with giving an example of how Russian meddling, if you want to call it that, and maybe you shouldn't, helped us win the Civil War against the Confederacy. He says here that in 1863, the Russian Imperial Fleet came to America to visit, and they did not want a divided North America, so they tended to side with the Union. And it says here that Russia had already a previous history from 1861 when they freed the serfs. By the way, 1861 is the same year that the Civil War began. And he's asserting here that this was in many ways the forerunner of abolition. So if you follow a link from the article, it goes to Russia Beyond, and you can learn more about the relationship between the United States and Russia during the time of the Civil War, and just prior to that. It was actually pretty good. I mean, they were friends of ours. So, it's reasonable to assert that maybe they sent ships over here to express their support for the Union. It's possible. He writes a determination for his example of the Civil War. And he writes here, as for 1863, it is clear Russians prevented expansion of the American Civil War into a global conflict. It's a bit of a jump there. The Imperial Fleet played a role in ending slavery and a role as savior of the Union. And then comes this, I don't know what to make of this, kind of snarky. Says, given the condition of American inner cities, saving the United States as a nation may have ended it as a civil society. Yuck, 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 yuck. Yeah, okay, this sounds perfect for Pravda. Okay, alright, I get it now. His determination about his example is, with the Civil War incident, Russian meddling saved the United States. That's a bit of a jump, fella. I don't know if I agree with that. And you know what? He's got other things to say. I'm going to be moving right along here, and I'm going to refer back to this same article by Guy Somerset about his thoughts about World War II, in which he says Russia was the true winner of World War II, and it wasn't the United States. And to state the Americans defeated the Germans is as ludicrous as it is to say Russia defeated the Japanese. Nice. Determination, Russian meddling saved the United States. Oh, wow, they just keep doing that. You know, we did get some technology from the Nazis. Operation Paperclip imported like a rocket scientist, Werner von Braun. Guy was a science genius. But he was also a Nazi and in the SS. Regardless, the United States imported him, and the guy probably did more for aeronautics and the military and the Air Force and space exploration than anybody else in our history. In closing, another thing he said regarding Russian meddling is that while collapse of the Soviet system caused incredible hardships on the Russian civilian population, it is to our credit we did not engage in the worst impulses to restore dominance. Compare and contrast this with the actions taken by China in Tiananmen Square. Even as American businessmen and international financiers looted the nation, our military restraint was to the vision and honor of Russia. So his determination on that is Russian meddling saved half of Europe. Okay. All right, well, we're going to conclude with what he finished off here with his article. And again, you can find it at pravdareport.com, written by an unidentified writer named Guy Somerset. About a fake secret memo that he used really to get people to read the story. And, you know, I don't know. I got my problems with it. Anyway, so he concludes that there were 6 Russian meddling victories that Russia should take credit for, and that there are 2 Russian meddling failures that Russia should take credit for, and there is one that is mixed results. But anyway, he says, given America has been saved by Russian meddling once every generation for over a century, it is imperative to maintain our meddlesome matrix. Even those times our meddlings have not succeeded, had American authorities acted with as much civic duty as ourselves, lives would have been preserved. Dun dun dun. He's talking about the warnings Russia claims to have made about 9/11 and the Boston Marathon bombers. While undeniably true that it is not pleasant to be accused by the controlled American media of our responsibility for every disreputable action in America, on the whole, it is best for us to continue protecting the American populace given the American government appears incapable of doing so. Wow. Boom. Whew. Yeah, it kind of looks that way when the Democrats absolutely just ignore and even sometimes mock those people who came forward, citizens and border officials, and begged for wall funding at the border. Our own people had to beg, and they were still just dismissed like common nobodies. Democrats have all their priorities wrong. Anyway, that being said, and then finally he ends with this thing about Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know what it means. Maybe I'm just dumb. Maybe you know what it means, but I don't. When he wrote, considering the death of Jeffrey Epstein, that murder was undoubtedly the responsibility of a much smaller nation, more significantly to the south than our own. Do you know who that is? I don't. I don't know what it means. But Guy Somerset is the name on it. He lives somewhere in America, and he contributes to Russia's news source, one of them anyway, pravdareport.com. Well, folks, that was fun. Hope you were entertained. Hey, if I can end with a laugh, something's going right, okay? Yeah, all right. Well, let's move on here, and thanks for listening.